Welcome to Psychic Tuesday. Welcome to the middle of your afternoon. So if you're at work, go close your office door, put your headphones in so you look like you're busy, and you just come sit down and enjoy the next 30 minutes because I'm going to tell you, we're going to cram a lot into this show today. And so I'm Bernice Bisson, psychic. I'm just Bernice Bisson. I'm Sweet B, actually. That's what people call me. And I've been reading for about 35 years, and I read palms and cards and tea leaves and all kinds of stuff. And I love astrology. I actually think astrology is probably my favorite tool, metaphysical tool. But we're going to start at the top because there is some big stuff going on. And if you haven't been feeling it, I'd be surprised. Let's start at the top. So we had that great big glorious full moon in Aries. And now I'm going to bring us to the next few minutes about the lunar axis of Aries and Libra. And there's a whole story. Let's start at the beginning. So Libra and Aries are sharing 6 eclipses over this 18-month, almost 20-month period. And the south node of karma is in Libra. The north node of destiny is in Aries. Venus rules Libra. Mars rules Aries. Venus, Mars. And every time there's a full moon in Libra, there's a new moon in Aries, vice versa, within 2 weeks. It's called karma and destiny. Okay, that's your lesson there. But there's a reason I'm telling you this, because I'm going to bring your attention to the upcoming October 14th, 2023. We have a new moon in Libra at 21, like, boom, reset. Going into now, I looked up 21 degrees of Libra around this time of this new moon, and there's something called Sabian symbols. If you're not familiar with Sabian symbols, go Google it. I promise you'll go down a rabbit hole. You'll thank me later. And you take your natal chart, you look at the degrees in your natal chart. Sabian symbols are messages downloaded by a psychic medium from the 1950s, long and short. A doctor wrote a book, yada, yada, yada. You can now look up the Sabian symbols to your natal chart degrees, and it's like poetry of your life destiny. It's some pretty crazy messages, okay? Thank me later. Sabian symbols, go Google that. Now, if I looked at it, the message in a nutshell was called intoxicated chickens, and I laughed because I'm like, there's a bunch of drunk chickens running around. But then I started to explore a few things that I noted going on this lunar axis, because right around that time, you're going to be able to see all nearing Pleiades constellation. I'm going to get back to Pleiades because he's not off the hook yet. We're going to get back to him. We've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn, we've got Mercury, and Mars, that you're all going to be able to see heading towards the Pleiades constellation, which is like the sisters, the 7 sisters, that little cluster that looks like a bunch of little stars there. I'm going to tell you the story of that in a minute, because if we looked at Venus versus Mars, the north node, the south node, Libra, Aries, Libra is a peacemaker. Some people say they're indecisive, but that's just a rumor, you know. And Aries is the warrior. They're spring with the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and they're like the warrior, and they fight for everything. Even if you don't want them, invite an Aries to a party. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm teasing, but they're the warrior. They're Mars. They're action. I'm going to come back to that because that's going to be super important. So we have the south node of karma forming a lunar eclipse. This is 5 of 6 eclipse sets that Aries and Libra share. Along with that, all heading near the Pleiades constellation, you've got Venus, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, and you can see them. You'll be able to see them in the skyline. Now, why is this important? Because if we look at the story of Pleiades in Greek mythology, Pleiades are the 7 sisters, and they were immortalized by Zeus in order to keep them from being attacked and like horrible things happening to them by Orion. And funny because as a kid, I always thought Orion was a good guy, but at times he wasn't. Go figure. But so being attacked by Orion, and so Zeus immortalized them in the stars because their father Atlas was busy holding up the sky. And he couldn't protect his kids, and so Zeus immortalized them. Now I'm telling you this story because if we look at Venus versus Mars, men and women, and we look at Libra, peace versus Mars, aggressor, if we look at past versus future. Ah. And I look at just the news stories that have come up in the last few days leading into this October 14th. So Russell Brand, whether you like him or hate him, I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's about his past coming forward right now. Yeah. And the empowerment of women through their voice, of people coming forward now, and him also in social media, because Aries governs that social media piece, you know. Then we have that wonderful story about that little girl who was just found, went missing. There was a ransom note, there was fingerprints, and they found her. And that made my heart sing, because that doesn't happen. That doesn't often happen when little kids go randomly missing. And so we've got these interesting stories, because as these eclipses unwind over the next year, we're going to see light versus dark, men, women, but women's empowerment, but also women's rights. We're also going to see women coming forward from the past, versus justice issues. And that includes a Supreme Court justice. That includes all of that. We're going to see more stuff on Epstein. Oh, yeah, right. More truth coming out. We haven't seen the list yet. Still waiting for the list. And then we've got all this Mars energy. And so Mars going forward is going to feel very heavy, very drawn in, as it moves into Scorpio, which is going to start pretty soon. Scorpio is pretty extreme, and having this north and south node polar act, like north lunar axis going on with karma and destiny. And we see all this energy with Scorpio, who's also governed by Mars. So we're going to see the escalation of events. We're going to see truth coming out in court cases. We're going to see the challenges of justice systems. We're going to see changes of governments, changes of leadership. We're going to see religion versus court, or the silos of religion versus the silos of court. These are all kind of those influences that we're going to experience over the next 18 months. So heads up, folks, be nice to each other. And so it's a big deal. And a lot of astrologers have nauseatingly written about it. So I'm not going to bore you to death with it, but I just thought the whole peril thing was a pretty interesting story around some of that. And so I feel like we're going to see a lot of truths coming out. We're going to see a lot of changes in leadership. We're going to see peace talks, people coming to the table, a lot of G20 summits, that kind of stuff, global stage stuff. We're going to see the challenging of billionaires. There's going to be this thing about challenging billionaires everywhere. And so be ready, billionaires. Here comes all of us. And so there's going to be lots of this going on over the next little while as well, under this influence, because as truths come out and things that we discovered through social medias and all of that, I mean, Elon Musk buying Twitter would be an example of, and then it pretty much falling apart and converting into something else. So these are the kinds of things I'm talking about, that we're going to find out more truths. We're going to find out more things around some of this energy going on. So it's some big. So I pay attention to Libra and Aries anytime the moons are there, other planets are there, because the north and south nodes are there, only amplifying it. So we're going to see a bunch of stuff around relationships as well, men and women, power, rights, equal rights, all those kinds of things, unions. I mean, if I even talk about the unions, because that's that Libra South Node of karma piece, and they're being empowered, and here we are. And so I'm kind of excited about it. I feel like we're going to see real changes going on around court processes, and we're going to see real changes going on around leaderships. And so it's kind of exciting to sit back and watch this as a Canadian up here in Canada, where we're kind of bored most of the time with that the politics stuff. We sit here with popcorn and we watch U.S. politics like it's a movie. There's just so many things going on, you know. But we have our own stuff here too, and Truth and Reconciliation is the new Canada, and I'm so excited about that because we're going to see some pretty exciting changes in leadership, and we're going to see some pretty unifying things, which makes me excited as a Canadian myself. Now, I believe I had it, Jeanette, ready to roll with me. Is that you?
Yes, hi.
Hello, my lady. Now, welcome to my show. I'm Bernice Bisson, and I don't think I've read you before
Hi.
because this is my third show. But hey, I'm ready to roll. So if I have not read you, just to give you the heads up, my readings are normally an hour long. So, Jeanette, I'm going to cram as much as I can into a short period of time. So, is there somewhere you want me
Okay.
to focus?
What was that?
Is there somewhere you'd like me to focus?
You said, is there someone I'd like you to focus on?
No. Well, no. So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay. I read a lot of different things and I do psychic and medium work together. Doesn't matter what I
Oh,
read.
gotcha.
Sometimes I just message.
Okay.
Would you like me to focus or would you like just to start with your birthday? What would you like to start with?
Maybe just if you see, I'm currently single. I like to see if you see
Oh,
someone coming in for my love life.
okay. 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 Then we're going to start with something fun. Can you actually see me on the show or can you just hear me on the phone?
I just hear you on the phone.
Okay. Okay. So let's get started. So we're going to look at, I'm going to do a fun little exercise with you. Um, I want
Okay.
you to, I want you to count backwards for me from 7 out loud slowly. Take a deep breath
Okay.
and you can start counting.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. I'm going to start at number 7. So as you counted down, I was picking words from my little box of cards. And I'm going to message around your love life, people coming in, things you got to take care of around your love life. Because the very first thing and thought I had about you, my beautiful Jeanette, was that you've got more conflict around you than romance. So, we're going to come back to that conflict and romance piece. Okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, the first word that came up when you said number 7, the word I chose was comfort. And comfort is about your home, where you live, and having people, you need boundaries around some of that, people coming in and out, or that you're going to be thinking about where you're living. I'll come back to that word. We're going to go to number 6 that you counted down. And the word was risk. Now, number 6 is your third eye, it's your psychic eye. It governs, I call it the filter for relationships. And the word risk came up. So, anyone you know now sounds like a lot of work. And so, let's keep going. Let's go to your throat chakra. Number 5, when you counted down number 5, the word that came up was gratitude, thankfulness. Your prayers are being heard, your plans, you'll be grateful for the changes. Because I feel like, in terms of your love life, I feel like you're going to have 3 options. Okay.
Okay.
One of them you already know, and they're a no on many levels. Okay. Because they cause you a lot of problems. And every time they show up, they either want something or they cost you money or they like, no. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Then we've got a second option that shows up and they're not available. Just so you know, they're not available. and that they pop up periodically, or that they pop up but they're not available. Now, the third option is a fire sign. Okay. That would be an
Okay.
Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarian fire sign. And I like the third possibility, fire sign. And I feel like um, there you have some sort of girls getaway coming. You're gonna head somewhere with some friends, because when you meet this person, you meet through friends or while you're with friends.
Okay.
And there'll be a lot of like messaging, or there'll be a lot of written communications. They appear as a fire sign. I feel like they're just like by July, and you're like, what? That's so far away. But remember, you still have these other two options hanging around that I'm like, no. Uh, but I feel like this option, like you'd be heading somewhere with your girlfriends, and you'll have this plan because you're dressed real nice when you meet them, which is a good thing. Because sometimes, we're like,
Mhm.
no, I was wearing my sweats today. And uh, so it feels like it's through people you know. It's not an online connection. Okay.
Okay.
Because there'll be this, possibly this online connection or this other person. And I feel like, no, no, because they're not
Okay.
available. And I feel like they're pretending, or they're like they got lots of excuses about availability. But I'm like, nope, nope, nope. So,
Okay.
so let's keep going because I got more words. Ready? Okay, let's go to your heart. Let's go to number 4. When you counted down number 4, your heart chakra. I got the word positivity. Okay. Now,
Okay.
that takes a lot of work. I like the word positivity, except for it means that you got to bend and break, and you got to mold into somebody that maybe sometimes you don't want to be positive. Maybe sometimes that feels like work. And I feel like in relationship, you make everything okay for someone else. And that's the piece that you're going to put a big boundary around. Okay.
Okay.
That you can be yourself, and that's okay. Now let's keep going. Let's go to your guts. The word is play. So your motivation for things is play. So I feel like your love life is coming through. You're going to meet them. I feel like before July. So I'm going to even say between May 21st and around July. You got some sort of girls getaway, or you're going out with the girls, and you're going to meet this person who is a fire sign. That It's funny because I don't know that they live right in your neighborhood. Like where you're going with your girlfriends feels a bit away, and I feel like that's the
Mhm.
connection. Okay, so it's not in your local restaurant. It's not right around the corner. The second
Okay.
piece. Okay, so I feel like it could be a day's drive. It could be between 1 and 7 hours away, sort of drive, where you guys are headed, but you're going as the girls. Okay, and then
Okay.
um, I feel like you've also got something really important around your money and your income, that
Mhm.
you will have some changes in your work or income that feel very positive. Even that you might have, these things might have come up in August, but are really going to start to show up by March for you. And this feels exciting because I feel like there's a bigger change for you, more so than your love life. Sorry, kid. But um, in some work around you, and I feel like you're going to be, or your income, you're going to be very pleased about it. Very pleased. Now let's keep going. If I go to you and everything, the word spontaneity came up. I'm telling you, I feel like you meet this person out of the blue. You meet them with your friends. It's someone who's a good talker. Like it feels like an instant connection. I feel like they could be a bit away from your normal haunt, where you would
Mhm.
normally go with your girlfriends. It feels like it's a bit away. And I feel like you would need, so the root is flexibility. And so it tells me that the relationship they would live at least an hour away from you. The relationship
Okay.
would develop over several months of texting. And you're going to think they're slow to move, but they're just cautious. That's all. They're not rushing into this like a love bomber or anything. Okay. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to get you to release these words for me. And then we're going to say thank you and we're going to release them. And thank you for calling in today. All
Okay.
right.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Jeanette. All right. I've got a lovely lady in Texas. Let's see who's up next.
Hello.
Hello. Hi,
Hi. How are you
Amanda.
doing?
Amanda
Hey,
in
y'all.
Texas. Now, we've got a few minutes and I'm going to try to answer as much as I can for you in a few minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Would you like me to focus somewhere, Amanda, or would you like me just to read?
Just to read, please.
Okay. So, Amanda, there's something important around taking some time off, and there'll be starts and stops to your income or work. And it feels like with those starts and stops, even in the last 4 months, the next 4 months shows up around you. So it feels like it's going to be a little more current. Okay.
Okay.
And that you've got, may I ask you a question? Do you mind if I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay. What's the day and month of your birthday?
6/12.
Oh, you're a Gemini. Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know if you typically have different locations for your work or different places that you head to for your work, but there seems to be travel or different locations showing up around, and you'll have time off and up, or slow and then fast. Like, because once you hit the ground running, it's going to be fast, Amanda. Fast, fast.
Yes, ma'am.
Even in the next 6 weeks, 16 weeks, something about that. There is two exciting announcements coming forward to you in the next, I'm going to say 6 to 7 months. There's something about financial papers, financial money, and if it's a settlement, because it seems like a process. I hope you win money, but I actually think it's a process, and that there's something about your money coming in through this process of papers process, and that you'd be seeing this. You might between February and June even get notifications about it. And it's not a small amount of money. It feels like it's a larger amount of money.
Wonderful.
And so, and I feel like like the process wasn't short. So this wasn't a short process, but your
Okay.
resolve looks near. Like it looks like it's just a few months away. It's like you'll get notifications and then there's some sort of money or payout coming. And then the other thing that comes up is I'm going to talk about some animals, and it sounds kind of a weird thing to mention, but
Okay.
some dogs, and
Yes.
and I just feel like there's this man who died, and he has these dogs with him, and I just
Okay.
see this long gravel road, and I would just see him sort of walking down this gravel road, and the dogs, and in the field I see horses, and I don't know why the horses, but they feel like important. And that there's something important about house, home, uh, money, your land, where you're living. And I feel like there's some good news coming forward pretty soon for you, like pretty
Okay.
soon for you around that. And that there's a bit of conflict, because nothing ever goes as, swimmingly as we'd like it, right? And so there
Yes.
seems to be some conflict with a man. It could be a war of words. It could be a conflict that needs to be mediated or in writing. And I feel like you're going to be like, that's it. I had enough, you know, like
Okay.
I had enough. And there's something that I feel like could get put in writing. Okay.
Okay.
And if that's like a notice or a nasty letter to a neighbor, I'm not sure, but it shows up around you, and I feel like because you're not going to have to wait long for answers anymore, because I feel like there's been a few of that. There's one last thing I just want to bring you to, unless you have a question, Amanda, because we'll have a moment for a question. But the last thing kind of swimming around in my head is your leg, your sciatic hip, leg. Be careful around your mobility, putting out your hip or your leg. And I feel like, because once it's a problem, it might be like that for a bit. Like you would need physio,
Okay.
you might need it looked at, but it might stem up from the hip area down, to the
Okay.
sciatic or something. Okay, just to watch. Quick question: what can I answer for you?
You was mentioning the thing about the gravel road and the dogs. I was just wondering, can you tell if it's like a father figure or is
Yeah,
he kind of coming close?
So if I think about the bigger dogs running, they're not little tiny chihuahuas, the bigger dogs going down the road. And I feel like there's this man who shows up really strong. And I'm just going to message a bunch of stuff that kind of showed up, a J, and then there's an E in the name somewhere. And that there's the girls like you and some sisters or sister-in-laws coming together, and someone's husband passed. And you guys are all coming together very shortly. He's going to be there. And I just feel like your dogs are in good hands, and that I was supposed to tell you he has them, but you're going to see them. If they're your sister-in-laws, I feel like you'll know about this within maybe even like the next few weeks. But that was the very first thing when I was thinking about you coming on with me. And thank you, Amanda. And thank you for tuning in. And thank you for tuning in to Psychic Tuesday with Sweet Bee. And I'll be back again next week. You can find me at bernicebissonpsychic.com. I'm on Facebook. I have one Facebook page. It's Bernice Bisson Psychic. I will never reach out to you on any social media ever. And so I have a rule, you have to contact me. But you can find me and all of my events and my podcast at bernicebissonpsychic.com. And I hope to see you again next week. Stay safe, stay well, and be kind to each other.